the President of the State of Israel.
Dear colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, I'm very happy that today I can welcome the President of Israel, Shimon Peres, to the European Parliament in Strasbourg. It's a great honor for us, dear President, that you have come to speak to us today and share your experiences and your hope for the future with us. Between European and Israeli citizens these days there is a very strong link, and we wish to build on that link by way of your visit today. In the future we have close economic and cultural ties. They have come about, and we also know that there are many personal ties which enrich us, but also those painful history which binds us. The European Union and Israel both have arisen after the terrors of the Second World War and the experiences of the depths of human experience, namely the Holocaust. In Europe, men and women built on the ruins of the war and swore never again to experience the same. And it's those words, never again, which guide me as a German member of this House, and it's a great honor for me to be the member of this multinational House. And these words, never again, I think are our most important duty for now and the future. The fight against anti-Semitism, against exclusion, against intolerance, that is the very foundation of the European Union, whose parliament we sit in. Your Excellency, ladies and gentlemen, Israel's right to exist and the right to its people to live in security and peace, that is not negotiable. And we, as Europeans, and I myself as a German in particular, stand behind that principle. Now, I, of course, wish that there had been progress in the Middle East peace process since our last meeting. Unfortunately, that's not the case. There is, at the moment, not a serious peace initiative on the table, and the Palestinian people also, just like the Israeli people, has the right to self-determination and also a right to live in dignity and peace. But neither the Israeli nor the Palestinian people have lived at any great length of time in peace. We would all like to see both peoples living side by side in two democratic countries with peace and prosperity and secure borders. In 1993, you, President, wrote in your own book, A New Middle East, and you set out what your vision would be for the future of your region. A Middle East which flourishes and creates links and reconciliation between people by way of economic cooperation. That was your vision. Some people called you naive back then. Here in this House, we call you courageous, because you have the same visionary courage as the founding fathers of the European Union had. We share your hope that the European Union, that the Middle East will become a peaceful, and progressive region in the future, and we will support you in that aim. So, President, welcome to the European Parliament, and we're looking forward to listening to what you have to say.
The President of the European Union, my dear friend Martin Schulz, distinguished members of the European Parliament, of this great house of freedom and peace that has changed the history of Europe and affecting the future of the entire world. I want to thank you for this privilege to address you. It's for me an important opportunity and a meaningful occasion for the people of Israel. Thank you very much. I stand here before you, with burning memories in my heart and great hope in my soul. I carry profound pain concerning the past, and I look with great confidence to the future. I also I immigrated to Israel in 1934 at the age of 11. In 1942, most of the inhabitants of my town were burned alive. Had my family delayed their immigration to Israel 8 years, we would have been exterminated. A year before the creation of Israel in 1947, I was recruited to the Haganah headquarters. Since then, Israel has been attacked 7 times in 65 years of its existence. We were outnumbered, outgunned. We have just one choice before us: to win or to die. I also participate in the confrontation of another enemy, the desert. We won. We made the desert bloom. I have many memories, but I carry many dreams as well. I didn't come to reminisce. I've come to continue my dreams. People age. Dreams are ageless. We changed. Europe changed. I came to express our admiration for the changed Europe. Europe picked itself up in the wake of the worst war in history. It divorced the past. It created a new Europe. You converted the divided Europe of the 1,000 years to have a united Europe, modern today. You replaced military camps with scientific campuses. Europe, which knew racism, is now considers it as a crime. I know that you are facing an economic crisis, but your skies are without the clouds of war. A European country introduced the Nobel Prize. Now, the United Europe won it rightly. Europe corrected its mistake and is building a better world. For us, the Europe of Shoah is becoming now the Europe of support of our Renaissance. Friends, The idea of the rebirth of Israel was born on European soil. In the past 1,000 years, more Jews lived in Europe than in any other continent in the world. Alas, more Jews were murdered in Europe in the last 100 years than in the two preceding 2,000 years. We experience here the worst tragedy of our history. Here we dreamed an impossible rebirth at the same time. 6 million, a third of our people, were murdered here by starvation, gas, rifles and fire. What you shall not forget that the righteous among the nations, your people, carried handles of light in the darkness. They were small in number, but great in heroism. Israel was born from those ashes at the end of the Second World War. If somebody stood up then and said that within 3 years a Jewish state would be created, he would have been considered a delirious visionary. But this dream became a reality. But I have to add, if somebody would have stood up on the very same day and said that in 6 short years a new united Europe would be born with borders erased, barriers lowered, he would have been considered an author of fiction. 6 countries signed the Treaty of Paris, became a community of 27 nations across Europe. Our relations here and now are a dialogue, though, between 2 miracles, your miracle and our miracle. Israel enjoys an association agreement with Europe and close ties with the European Union in nearly all fields. I have come to thank you for your friendship based on common values, geographic proximity, history. Politically, Israel is a Western democracy with a Mediterranean experience. Religiously, Israel is the cradle of the 3 monotheistic religions. Scientifically, Israel is advanced even by European standards. Israel is small, just 1 promille of the area of the Middle East. Its soil is barren rather than fertile, typically for the Middle Eastern soil. Water is scarce. We have just 2 lakes, one dead, the other dying. We have a single river, the Jordan, rich in history, poor in water. The land is rich in archaeology, poor in natural resources. The only natural resource we discovered is the human potential. Israel is an example where the people enrich the land more than the land enriched the people. An example where the devotion of the people and the merits of high-tech forced deserts to surrender, to bloom. We went through 7 wars. We won them. But when peace became possible, we returned all the land and all the assets which we won during the war to the countries that we made peace with, Egypt and Jordan. We started a peace process with the Palestinian people, which enabled both of us to build a Palestinian Authority. Then people forget it. We evacuated Gaza Strip. We dismantled 22 settlements. We brought back all the settlers from there. It was an occasion for the Palestinians to build a strip of independence, of peace. Unfortunately, they turned it into a terroristic base. We don't know why, we don't know what for, but we know it became a setback to the peace process. Israel is an island in a stormy ocean. We have to defend our island. We have an interest to tranquilize the sea. Some people claim it will take generations. Europe has proved that great events can be achieved in 6 years. We live in a new era where events are moving at the speed of a plane, no longer at the speed of a carriage. For that reason, I believe that the peace can be achieved in a relatively short while. The peace process with the Palestinians has already agreed on the beginning and agreed on the solution. The solution is an Arab state. The solution is based on the two-state nations, an Arab state, Palestine, a Jewish state, Israel, living in peace and economic cooperation. The remaining disputes, issues, can and should be negotiated and completed. Peace for Israel is not just a strategic choice. It is a moral call which stems from the depth of our heritage. Since Exodus, our heritage condemned slavery, rejected mastery, and all persons are considered born equal. Our legacy calls upon to pursue peace. Together with my partner, Yitzhak Rabin, that was assassinated, we laid down the foundation for peace with the Palestinians. It is time now to continue, to renew the peace process. We must continue to work with the Palestinian Authority. We have to support the Palestinian economy. We have together to make and complete peace. A Palestinian security force was formed. You in the United States trained them. And now we work together with them to prevent terror and crime. Ladies and gentlemen, our hand remains stretched out to peace with all the countries in the Middle East. In a short while, a new Israeli government will be formed. It is an occasion to resume the peace negotiations, to realize the two-state solution. There is no other, nor for us. It is not only our preference, it is the call of the present reality. Jordan, Israel and Palestine find themselves in a similar situation. Terror and dangers, each of them separately, and all the three of them collectively. Collective dangers call for a collective security. I have the highest regard for the King of Jordan. Like his father, he has proved to be a courageously committed king to peace. I have known the President of the Palestinian Authority, Mahmoud Abbas, for many years. He condemns terror and he is a real partner to peace. Europe has been and continues to be a major partner for peace and a major enemy of terror. Next week, we shall be hosting President Obama in Israel as a welcome and esteemed guest. His support for our security is extraordinary, and his devotion to peace is unshakable. We are glad that the United States and Europe are now working together to support peace, to stop terror. The greatest danger to peace in the world today is the present Iranian regime. It became a dictatorship cloaked in a religious mantle. It developed an impossible imperial appetite. Nobody threatens Iran. Iran threatens others. It endangers the independence of the Arab countries. It menaces the existence of the Israeli state. It smuggles arms to many countries in order to undermine their stability. They deny Holocaust. They call for another Holocaust. They are aiming to build a nuclear weapon and deny they do it. A nuclear bomb in the hands of a irresponsible regime is an imminent danger to the entire world. The European Union and the United States drew the conclusions together to create a policy to stop that from happening. To this end, you rightly decided to impose economic sanctions. You made it clear that if the Iranians will not respond, other options are on the table. In addition to the nuclear bomb, Iran is constructing long-range missiles equipped with nuclear warheads. It can reach the far corners of the world, including Europe. I believe that in addition to controlling the production of highly enriched uranium, there is a need to control the means of delivery, to control the production of missiles capable of carrying nuclear warheads. Khamenei declared that religion prohibits the production and the use of nuclear arms. Why then does he build missile capabilities capable of carrying nuclear warheads? During the Helsinki conference, which took place in 1975, the United States placed the issue of human rights in the Soviet Union at the top of the world strategies. It was surprising. It was effective. It shows that moral voice is no less important than diplomatic démarche. Today, this call should be addressed to Iran. A clear voice must be raised against the violation of human rights by the Iranian regime. A clear voice must be raised against a regime that hangs people without bringing them to court, that throws journalists into prison without trial, that fires bullets, live bullets, at civilian demonstrators without respect for their life. A clear voice must be raised against a regime that discriminates against women. And instead of sharing the oil-generated profits with their own people, they spend them on terror and arms and endanger people all over the world. Enriched uranium impoverishes hungry children. A moral voice will encourage the Iranian people in their fight for freedom, in their strike against misery. Very soon, elections will take place in Iran. Their tools should not be allowed to falsify the results, to frustrate the right of the people to make their own free choice. Your voice, ladies and gentlemen, will show the Iranian people that the world has not turned its back on them. The present leader of Iran are violating the Charter of the United Nations, which condemns the violation of human rights, the aggression against other countries. Yet they are given the opportunity in the United Nations to abuse its platform. Iran supports terrorism throughout the world. Its main proxy, Hezbollah, carries out terror attacks and threats against the stability of the entire region. Dear friends, the historic Sykes-Picot Agreement between France and England gave birth to a modern Lebanon, so to become a multicultural country where Muslims, Christians and Druze together live in peace. Today, Hezbollah, supported by Iran, is destroying Lebanon. Hezbollah is a terror organization, a political movement. They collect missiles. They are trigger happy. They hide missiles in peaceful towns and villages, and by doing so, they turn them in a war target. Hezbollah divides Lebanon politically, religiously, ethnicity. It turned the land of the cedar tree into land of scorched cedars. Hezbollah is a state within a state. They are a private army apart from the national army. They send soldiers to support the massacre of the bloody dictator in Syria without the authorization of the government of which they are a member of. Recently, 20 terror attempts by Hezbollah were counted all over the world, in India, Thailand, Georgia, South Africa, the United States, Egypt, Greece, among others. Last month, the government of Bulgaria, a member of the European Union, identified that the terror attack in Burgas was carried out by Hezbollah. 5 Israeli tourists and 1 Bulgarian citizen lost their life. Cyprus recently arrested a Hezbollah terrorist planning a terror attack. Distinguished Member of Parliament, we appeal to you. Call terror terror. Save Lebanon from terrorist madness. Save the Syrian people from the Iran. Save your citizens and ours from Hezbollah. The international community has to designate Hezbollah as a terrorist organization because they are a terrorist organization. Today, terror's extent reaches far behind its previous limitations. Recently, terrorists attempted to take over Mali. Would they succeed, it would have halted the impressive endeavor of the African continent to recover from the past. One of the highest hopes of all of us is to see a brave attempt of the African people to build a new science-based economy like in Europe. The free world cannot stand by as terror imposes its grip onto any part of the world, far or near. It cannot stand by when massacre called out by the Syrian president against his own people, his own children. Assad recently built a nuclear installation and an arsenal of chemical warheads. The nuclear installation was destroyed in time. The chemical arsenal remains in his hands to this very day. It is a terrible danger for the Syrian people, for the entire region, and even for Europe. A way must be found to prevent the chemical weapons from falling into the wrong hands. The best option to put an end to the Syrian tragedy might be achieved by empowering the Arab League, of which Syria is a member, to intervene. An intervention of the Western forces would be perceived as a foreign intervention. The Arab League can and should form a provisional government in Syria to stop the massacre, to prevent Syria from falling to pieces. The United Nations should support the Arab League to build an Arab force in blue helmets. Friends, 18 years ago, I came to Brussels to sign the association agreement between the European Union and Israel. I am happy that reality has surpassed expectations. Indeed, the association agreement became a partnership, and before long, the partnership became a friendship. It is on this already ground that I propose to the European Union and Israel to cooperate for the benefit of the stability and prosperity in the Middle East and the developing in other places in the world. Israel is described as a start-up nation. I believe that the whole Middle East can become a start-up region. High-tech incubators can be created all over the region to escape poverty. Israel is small, so we try to take advantage of our smallness. We discovered that small countries can become great pilot plants. Today we are trying to build a social model that will bridge the gap between the have and the have-nots. The social gap is a major problem for all, rich and poor. We are looking for a new way to overcome the gap by democratization health, by democratization education, by democratization communication, by reducing the cost of food and housing. This is a burning need for the young generation. You know, it's nice to be young, but now it's extremely expensive. We intend to improve the human condition, to enable each person to possess a capacity of making a free choice for the way of life by entering in the secrets of our brains. The brain is the most illustrious instrument of the world. It has enabled us to build artificial brains, yet we are still far away from understanding the way the brain is functioning. Our brain. As a matter of fact, we are strangers to ourselves. Discovering of our brain will enable us to become friendly with ourselves and with our fellow men. I am glad that this effort gained a new priority and became a major topic for the cooperation between our governments, non-governmental organizations, and between us as individuals. Our global world has no global government. It has become almost ungovernable. We have to look for an alternative. I believe that the future way to governing shall rely on three pillars. National governments will continue to be in charge of the husbandry of the national state. Global companies will invest in research and development, and the individual will enjoy the capacity to govern themselves by knowing the way their brain functions. Science today is more telling than politics. It is universal. It is borderless. Armies cannot conquer wisdom. Police cannot arrest science. I believe that scientific aid to developing countries can enable them to escape poverty. Science-based global companies can help change the world. Globalization will end racism. You cannot be global and racist. It empowers the individual. Global companies do not impose their will upon people. On the contrary, they respect the will of their clients. They can provide scientific know-how for growth. They can assist young people to acquire high education, to create jobs befitting their skills. This may be the best help we can offer to our young people, to the young generation in the Arab world. This is our hope, to answer the challenge of the new age. I propose the plan of a joint venture between the European Union, the national governments, the global cooperation, to cope in a new way with these challenges. Ladies and gentlemen, I know it requires your support as the European Parliament. Allow me to count on your understanding and help. Joining Europe's wisdom and the Israeli experience, we can overcome tomorrow's challenges. Facing the lack of a global government, we can foster close cooperation between governments and global companies. Facing the dangers which threaten the values for which we stand, we shall fight terror wherever it is, relentlessly. President Schulz, esteemed members of Parliament, Jean Monnet, the father of the European Union. Everybody is ambitious. The question is whether he is ambitious to be or ambitious to do. The time has come to do. Let us remember that we are as great as the purpose we serve. Yes, the challenges ahead of us are daunting. But who better to defy the seemingly impossible than the two miracles I have mentioned? Let us join forces. the European Union, Israel, to fulfill the teaching of our heritage. In the world of my forefathers, let us fix the world, we say it in Hebrew, Tikkun Olam. In the words of Jean Monnet, I can say, let's do it. Let us work together for a better Middle East, for a daring Europe. Let us fulfill the values of our people: peace, democracy, human rights, yielding to no obstacle, daring the new. We shall be servants of the future rather than rulers of the past. My friends, as I look upon the future of the friendship which ties Israel to the European Union, I am filled with hope and determination. Hand in hand, we shall build a brighter tomorrow for the tomorrows. I thank you, and shalom.
Vielen Dank, meine
Many thanks, ladies and gentlemen, for the way in which you have honoured the President of Israel. Thank you, President, for what you've had to say to us. I believe the appeal you made to us will echo beyond this chamber. I welcome your remarks about cooperation between the people of Israel and the people of Europe. I welcome the fact that you refer to our common values, the respect for the individual, and the non-negotiable question of human rights for all people in Europe, in Israel, and also in Palestine. This is a principle that, of course, applies throughout the world. Thank you.
Riprendiamo le votazioni.
Okay, let's resume our voting. We now have the Rivasi report. I call the rapporteur, Madame Rivasi.
Merci, Madame la Présidente.
Thank you very much, Madam President, my dear colleagues. This report relates to monitoring radioactive substances present in drinking water. Now, in order to guarantee the text's consistency, and after consulting the European Parliament's services and the political groups as well, there's a technical amendment I would like to make to amendment number 2. We want to delete the following wording: After the word transition of the legislative act to the European Parliament, and given the view of the Committee of the Regions. So after the vote, I would like to thank you if you could give me the floor again, Madam President, so that on behalf of the European Parliament I could give a message to the European Commission.
Bene, ora 50.
Thank you very much. 56 amendments en bloc. Those in favour? Thank you. Those against? They are carried. Now, the Commission proposal. Those in favour? Thank you. Those against? Hands up all the way so I can see from here. Those in favour? Those against? Abstentions carried. Now, a roll call vote on the legislative resolution. The vote is closed. That is carried. Rapporteur, please, to make your comment.
Merci, Madame la Présidente. Merci pour votre...
Well, thank you very much for this vote of confidence on this very important subject. On behalf of the European Parliament, I call